Yeah, I need to get a new mic, it seems. Yeah, so I'm Gene, one of the co-founders of Mercury Alert. We're based out of San Diego, and we work really closely with UC San Diego, and the affiliated hospital system here. So our main mission here is to utilize the power of AI and maximize health and safety of both caregivers and seniors. For caregivers, it's making their lives a lot easier, giving them the monitoring and alerting that they need to feel like they have the peace of mind, but also for seniors, increasing their safety, but also collecting a lot of activities of daily living data, so people have a better sense of how well they're doing and their wellness. So the number one problems that we're facing right now is people want to age at home, but most people can't afford it. Caregivers are super expensive, especially during the shortage. Right now, they're about $35 an hour in California. Way too expensive for most families to even meet the minimum care hour requirements. And we're also seeing that home care agencies are really struggling to serve this majority class of caregivers that provide their own care at home, but could use some type of real professional caregiver help. So these are the most common solutions that we see. There's bed pressure sensor, bed motion sensors. The problems with these is really high false alarms, and you just get really exhausted of just getting false alarms constantly. And oftentimes, a lot of teams will turn the systems off. There's wearable buttons, baby monitors, and security cameras that we see family caregivers use a lot, but all of these require the user to actually input some type of action, like a button press, or someone to actually check their phone or the baby monitor to see what's going on. So we're the most comprehensive AI caregiver on the market currently. We don't use any wearables or anything. We're just a wall-mounted sensor that essentially detects any relevant action that a caregiver will be looking for. So this is anything from out of bed for too long. So during the nighttime, if someone is out of bed for too long, longer than is usual for them, for example, a bathroom use, or if they've actually started wandering, or if they've fallen in the bathroom, then we'll trigger an alert because they're not returning to bed in a normal amount of time that's normal to them. Of course, falls, in bed, standing, sitting. So sitting up is how we do our fall prevention. So we're currently in the VA hospitals where we replace nighttime nurse sit-ins. So essentially we have our devices. As soon as someone even sits up in bed, we trigger an alert and we dispatch a nurse to the veteran's room, thus preventing that unassisted bed exit and potentially a fall. All of our alerts are very customizable. It can be texts, phone calls, pagers like in hospitals, or we even provide like a big screen where people can monitor from. And all emergencies, for example, falls and out of bed for too long, are phone calls. So it makes us extremely comprehensive for the entire 12-hour nighttime cycle. So with the ability to be able to detect all these actions really accurately, we're able to collect a ton of data on activities of daily living. So these are things like how long are people sleeping in bed, how many times they're leaving bed, how often are they moving. We even have a safety score. It's an AI generated score that essentially tells families how fall prone someone is from the previous night before, based on the different movements and actions they're performing throughout the night. So here on the right side, you'll see a graph where it goes from in bed, sitting, to out of bed. This is a really great way to see kind of the movement and even wandering or the bathroom usage throughout the night. A couple things that we're working on currently are even like UTI progression detection. We're actually able to detect how frequently are people using the bathroom and how did that change over time, and how long are they spending in the bathroom, how did that change over time. Also, as you can see here, once someone is in bed and they've sat up, we can detect how long it takes for them to actually stand up after they've sat up in bed. So, and comparing that, how that changes over time is a really great way to see how imbalanced a client or an older adult may be. Also down here, we have nighttime sleep timeline. So it's essentially quality of sleep. Same kind of method that an Apple Watch or like an Oura Ring would work, but essentially we're detecting movement all throughout the entire body. So it makes us even more accurate in some cases, but very interesting to look at, especially when you go to a geriatrician and the main things they ask are like, how well are you sleeping? Have you fallen? Are you wandering? Seniors generally don't know how to answer that question, and families just don't know anything about that. So these are the client caregiver dashboards. We have a really simple mobile app. And in communities, we work in memory care, assisted living, and independent living. There, we have like a device or a big monitor in the medtech's office where They'll be able to monitor throughout the color changes, red being emergency, yellow being a warning, and green being safely in bed. So our main partnerships are with home care agencies. So just to go over that, why do home care agencies love us so much? We're seeing them only converting about 30% of all the clients or families that approach them for caregiving. But the majority of the families, 70%, are not being able to be converted because of the fact that caregiving is way too expensive and they just can't afford it. So partnering with us, we're allowing these care agencies to actually offer a new alternative service that allows families to care for themselves using this technology, but at the same time bring them into the care families. For example, accident care, home instead honor care. So the families have the support they need throughout their entire care journey. We're priced really low. So our hardware device, which includes installation and everything, is $400, and then we're only $99 a month. The agencies that we partner with, they have the ability to charge on top of that. Most of our clients will pay about $200 to $300 a month, but in comparison, having a real physical caregiver for one night is $300. And yeah, care agencies, our care partners do all the care, and we provide all the rest in terms of technology, installs, training, marketing, anything like that. So for families, these are the kind of segments that we are working in. So Mercury plus family care, we allow families to provide their own care. So for example, the older adult lives with the family. They're having a hard time sleeping because they're afraid, their loved one's going to wander throughout the night. Something may happen, so they're just really not getting any sleep. Now they're able to sleep, get that respite they need, but at the same time, they'll always be woken up and they're able to care for themselves. So essentially, families get the alerts. At the same time, all the data analytics is shared with the care agencies that they work with to be able to help their care managers understand when they should reconvene and offer a real physical caregiver and help adjust care plans. The next one we're working on, we're piloting in Missouri in the Bay Area and currently have a grant for from the NIH and NIA, is called Mercury Shared Care. Essentially, this is one caregiver being shared by multiple clients throughout the night. We currently do this within assisted living and independent living communities for families and older adults that can't afford that one-on-one care, but definitely want some type of fallback in case something does happen. So a caregiver is located within the community and serves about 7 to 8 seniors with our devices and responds to their alerts throughout the night. This also applies to small neighborhoods, so Bay Area, about like a 5-mile radius, where multiple families share a single mobile caregiver throughout the night. Here's a little bit more about the shared care. Essentially, single caregiver, multiple clients, extremely affordable care option for families, but also care agencies can serve more clients without having to find the more caregivers. And for communities. So number one thing we work in, like memory care, assisted living, independent living, is sales and retention. Families love seeing AI technology within communities, and it's a big deal because we increase safety so significantly. So what we're seeing is these communities that we're installed in are bringing families off of their wait list, getting them moved in. We even have families that won't move in until they have a room ready with our device. So it's just been a really great add-on for communities and just brings tons of peace of mind to families and caregivers. Safety and injuries, of course, we dispatch caregivers directly to residents before or after an incident may occur. We've decreased fall response time to 97% throughout all our communities. So instead of 2+ hours every time there's a check-in throughout the night, as soon as a fall happens, they're alerted and immediately get help within 2 to 3 minutes. And team efficiency, caregivers love our system and it makes their lives a lot easier. It's a lot easier for them to do check-in rounds, a lot easier to not be so nervous and have so much anxiety of, what's going on with my residents when I'm not watching them. Also, when a new resident does move in, it's really easy to understand their nightly habits and patterns because of all the data that we do collect. And here's just some pilot results. We're about 99.6% accurate throughout all of our devices. This particular pilot was 99.8% accurate. And that means every detection, sitting, standing, walking, falling, anything like that. And I believe that is it. Thank you.
Thank you. That was excellent. And I'm very excited to learn about that. And I'm sure anybody that knows people, I'm sorry Christine's not here because she could probably sell this for you
Right.
in all of the board and care homes that she goes into on a daily basis.
Yeah,
Uh,
Are you taking
phenomenal.
questions?
Go ahead.
Are you taking questions?
Yes, please.
Yeah. So actually, it says questions right there. Yes, I guess you are. The pricing you saw there that you showed there obviously was kind of like your wholesale pricing where
Mhm.
places can actually change their own pricing. But if we were just a home use only and somebody want to buy it for their family, is that the pricing or is there a different pricing for consumers?
It's the same pricing. So with private families, it's just $400 for their device and $99 a month.
Wow.
So
And we
if you're
bill month to
putting,
month, no contracts.
if you're putting one of those wellnest ADUs in your backyard for your parent, then having a device in there would help alert you to
Absolutely.
their. Okay.
So Jay, I had a question. Does this technology work for the senior that's sleeping in a lazy boy chair?
Yes, it doesn't matter where they're sleeping, whether it's a chair, on the floor, on a bed, it will detect them all throughout the entire night. Just as
Okay.
a little clarification, we're built currently for the entire 12-hour nighttime cycle because that's what we're seeing is the most struggle to get a caregiver, and that's when a lot of the falls happen and a lot of the danger. Our next, product or next features will involve being able to detect more daytime features like people watching TV, people in the kitchen cooking, people opening a cabinet, taking medication. So we're not just detecting motions, we're detecting real actions that people are doing. But currently we don't have enough for the daytime to market it that way. Although we do detect falls all throughout the day, everywhere in the house.
So what kind of reporting does the family with HIPAA, what kind of reporting do they have access to? Is it all on an app through the phone?
Yeah, actually I can, let me give a quick. So this is our website. We have a client portal. This is just like a demo account that we have. Yeah, so if you have multiple devices, you'd see multiple tiles, but essentially if you have one, you just see one tile, you tap into it. A couple features we have is being able to see a real-time image. So this is a super requested feature from our families, to be able to just double check that something is actually wrong when they get an alert. You have an option to blur it for yourself. You can actually add a lot of other accounts like caregiver accounts. You can enable for them to see the image or even blur it for themselves or just disable all this. In the communities that we work with, we don't offer this, but for private families, this is available. And we also have two-way audio as well, so that you can talk through the mobile app and talk to the older adult. Yeah, so to answer your question, all the alerts and settings are done on the mobile app or the web app here, like you've seen. We use AI to automatically determine when people go to bed and wake up. So it's really easy to just set up. You don't have to figure anything out. And then all the analytics are down here. We just show the safety score first because that's the number one thing that families see. And then you can move into the view advanced analytics. And you can see all the analytics here. One thing is you can compare all the statistics day over day, week over week, month over month, and really tell patterns that are forming, changing, breaking, anything like that. Especially with the safety score, this is how our partners, their care managers, adjust care plans throughout someone's care journey. And also you can go back in time. This is dummy data that we use here, so it doesn't look as normal as other data, but you get a good idea of what it looks like.
That's incredible. What a great use of AI.
Thank you. Yeah.
Hey, G, real quick question here. This is Bakari with the Wellness Company. We also integrated an AI technology in our units early on for the same exact reason. And it's amazing to see AI be used in the senior space and to be able to help this demographic. Had a quick question. I know we use a ton of hardware and we have had pushback on invasiveness of cameras and microphones and things like that. Do you guys use an infrared technology or how do you guys track the movement of your clients?
Yeah. So we're completely computer vision based. That means we're camera based, but we're built to work with any smart cameras like Nest cams, Wise cams, Ring cams, and we're already starting to work with some companies even like Arlo Cam. We use cameras, but it's the most accurate, and what's the reason why we're the most accurate. But at the same time, we do a ton of work to, privacy is number one concern. We go through legal teams with all of our communities that we're in, all our home care agencies. We're HIPAA compliant as well. We do understand that there are some privacy concerns, but for us, what we've seen is that for a lot of families, we increase privacy just for the fact that instead of having a real caregiver there opening the door, constantly checking in, which seniors just absolutely hate, having ours device really makes them be able to sleep better, but also not be disturbed by stranger caregivers in their house. But yeah, we're camera based.
Yeah, and I love the idea behind kind of completing the circle of information for caregivers, physicians, care providers. I think, like you mentioned, I think earlier with UTIs and different movements throughout the day is extremely helpful to complete the picture. Do the physicians have access to the information as far as how often they're going to the bathroom, or is it the data that's tracked that they only have access to?
Yeah, so one of our main advisors is a chief of geriatric medicine here at UCSD. We work with her to really determine what's important for doctors. So we have the ability to actually print out different versions of the data that we collect. One for families that are just a lot more simpler, but even for geriatricians and like care managers, where you can see a lot more specific analytics that you're mentioning.
Yeah, this is amazing. It'll be, we'll probably connect offline. I don't want to take up everyone's time, but our chief medical officer is doing the same exact thing, just I think with a different type of technology. And it'd be cool to kind of observe what you guys have had success with, what we've had success with, and how to improve both versions. Because I think, everyone's going to have their preference, but if we can advance AI in the space, it's huge for our entire boomer generation and future generations. So I appreciate what you're doing and keep killing it.
Oh, absolutely. Thank you.
And another question, are there plans for the future that your caregivers or families will be able to talk through the app? I don't know if that's even possible, like a speaker kind of setting.
Yeah, so that's our two-way audio. So all the devices come with a speaker and microphone setup,
Oh,
and just
you already
using your
have
mobile
that.
app. Correct. Yeah, and you can
Oh,
just
wow.
press a button on your mobile app and talk through it.
Oh my gosh. Phenomenal.